The Galactic Empire made one fatal mistake. They executed the wrong woman. Not that they knew it at the time, of course. To them, she was just another rebel, another body to display as a warning. But when the blade fell and the broadcast cut to black, something far worse than death awakened. Because Cassandra Vale wasn't just a prisoner. She was a virus. And in exactly 47 minutes, the entire Empire would learn what happens when you kill a ghost. Please wait. Before we start, tap that iCar button in the top right corner and smash that subscribe button. Right now, hit the notification bell so you're first in line when new stories land. Alright, let's dive into the story. The Galactic Empire didn't realize it had just lit the fuse to its destruction. Across 1,000 star systems, screens flickered to life as the Imperial News Network broadcast the event in chilling high definition. The execution platform loomed under the harsh, artificial glow of the capital's floodlights, its polished metal surface reflecting the cold faces of the assembled officials. At the center of it all stood the prisoner, unbroken, unafraid, and dressed in a form-fitting black suit that accentuated every curve of her powerful frame. Her dark hair cascaded over her shoulders like a shadow given life, and her piercing green eyes scanned the crowd with something between amusement and pity. Cassandra Vale, boomed Grand Inquisitor Veron, his voice dripping with theatrical gravitas. The gold embroidery on his robes shimmered as he stepped forward, his polished boots clicking against the steel platform. You stand convicted of high treason, sabotage, and crimes against the Eternal Throne. The sentence is death. Cassandra tilted her head, a smirk playing at the corner of her lips. You forgot being too damn pretty for your dungeons. A ripple of murmurs spread through the crowd. Veron's jaw tightened. Your defiance changes nothing. Oh, it changes everything, she said, her voice smooth as silk yet sharp as a blade. You just don't know it yet. Behind her, the executioner, towering brute clad in black armor, adjusted his grip on the energy blade staff. The weapon hummed to life, casting an eerie blue glow across Cassandra's face. She didn't flinch. Veron leaned in, his voice dropping to a venomous whisper. Any last words, traitor? Cassandra's smirk widened. Just one. She turned her head slightly, as if addressing someone unseen. Now! The executioner raised the blade, and the entire broadcast feed stuttered. For half a second, the screen distorted, pixels scrambling like panicked insects. Then it cleared. The blade came down. A collective gasp echoed across the galaxy as Cassandra's body crumpled to the platform. But in the control room of the Imperial News Network, a technician frowned. Sir, we just got a system alert. Quiet, snapped the overseer. The Emperor wants this scene. The camera lingered for a moment too long on Cassandra's lifeless form before the feed cut to black. Silence. Then, on a derelict freighter drifting near the edge of Imperial space, a console beeped. A woman with striking green eyes and a familiar smirk leaned back in her chair, stretching her arms behind her head. And that's how you fool an empire. Across from her, Darius Cole, a grizzled ex-soldier with scars mapping his knuckles, let out a low whistle. You're insane. Insane. Cassandra grinned. No, I'm Fero. She tapped a key. Somewhere in the depths of the Imperial core, a dormant subroutine stirred to life. The clock had started. 47 minutes until the fall. Admiral Jace Riker's whiskey glass froze halfway to his lips as the broadcast feed dissolved into static. The holographic screen in his quarters flickered wildly before cutting to black, leaving only the faint hum of the ship's engines and the rapid pounding of his pulse in his ears. Lieutenant Kova. His voice cracked like a whip through the comms. Status report now. Mira Kova's face appeared on his wrist display, her dark eyes wide with alarm. Sir, we've lost all incoming feeds from the capital. External sensors are picking up massive energy fluctuations across Imperial networks. Jace was already striding toward the bridge, his boots pounding against the polished metal deck. "Scramble all fighters. Put the fleet on high alert." As the doors hissed open, the bridge crew sat frozen at their stations, staring at the main view screen where the last frozen image of Cassandra Vale's execution still lingered. A young ensign turned to Jace, his face pale. "Admiral, did they just focus?" Jace snapped. "I want full diagnostics on our systems yesterday." The ship's AI, a smooth synthetic voice, chimed in without warning. "Alert. Unauthorized intrusion detected in primary firewalls. Security protocols compromised." Myra's fingers flew across her console. "That's impossible. Our encryptions are—" A deafening boom rocked the ship, sending crewmen tumbling. Red emergency lights flared to life as klaxons wailed. "Report," Jace barked, gripping the command chair to steady himself. "Direct hit on the Eclipse," shouted a tactical officer. Their shields folded before impact." Jace's blood ran cold. "That's a dreadnought. Nothing punches through their shields that fast." Myra's console lit up with frantic data streams. "It's not just us. The entire 7th Fleet is reporting system failures. Weapons offline, navigation glitching. Even life support is—" Another explosion, closer this time. The lights flickered. Jace whirled toward communications. "Open a channel to High Command." Static. Then a voice, smooth, feminine, and infuriatingly familiar, crackled through the speakers. "Admiral Riker. Always a pleasure." Jace's grip on the console turned his knuckles white. "Vali." Cassandra's laughter was rich, mocking. "Miss me already? You're supposed to be dead. Ah, you do care." A pause. "Tell me, Jace, how's the weather out there?" "Stormy." Before he could respond, the ship lurched violently. A console exploded in sparks. Mira shouted over the chaos. "Sir, the Invictus just lost power. They're drifting into the transmission cut off." Cassandra's voice turned deadly serious. "Tick-tock, Admiral. 46 minutes left." The line went dead. Jace turned to Mira, his voice a low growl. "Find out what she did. Now." Mira was already typing furiously. "She didn't just hack them, sir. She rewrote their codes. Every Imperial system is—" Another explosion. Closer. Jace made a decision. "Evacuate the Eclipse. Prepare for—" The AI interrupted. "Warning. Warp core instability detected." Myra's head snapped up. "That's not possible unless—" Jace finished the thought. "Unless someone wanted it to blow." Across the fleet, the same scenario played out on a dozen ships. And somewhere in the dark, Cassandra Vale watched the dominoes fall. The hidden bunker on Nereus Moon smelled of ozone and burnt circuitry. Cassandra Vale leaned back in her chair, boots propped up on the control console, watching the chaos unfold across dozens of holographic displays. Each screen showed a different Imperial ship or station spiraling into disaster. Darius Cole paced behind her, his massive frame tense. "You sure this is going to hold?" They've got entire divisions of cyber warfare specialists. Cassandra didn't look up from her screens. Past tense. She tapped a key, and another dreadnought's icon blinked red before vanishing. "Those specialists are currently trying to remember how to tie their shoes after my wormhole protocols wiped their mainframes." A new alert flashed. Darius stiffened. "That's a priority signal from the Imperial flagship." Cassandra's grin turned predatory. "Oh, this I gotta hear." She opened the channel. Grand Inquisitor Veron's face appeared, his usually immaculate robes disheveled, his eyes wild. "Vali, you treacherous—" Cassandra interrupted, wagging a finger. "You don't get to call me treacherous after broadcasting my murder like some cheap reality show." Veron's face turned purple. "What have you done to our systems?" "Me? Nothing much." She examined her nails. "Just gave your entire network a little personality transplant." Darius snorted. "She turned your kill switches into party favors." Veron's image flickered as another explosion rocked his ship. "You'll die for this." Cassandra leaned forward, her green eyes glinting. Funny. I recall you already tried that. The transmission cut out abruptly. Darius raised an eyebrow. You enjoy this too much. Damn right I do. Cassandra spun her chair around. 45 years of imperial oppression, and they never saw this coming. A proximity alarm blared. Darius was at the weapons locker in an instant. We've got company. Cassandra checked the sensors and groaned. Ugh, Riker. Persistent bastard, isn't he? On screen, Admiral Jace Riker's assault cruiser dropped out of warp, its guns already charging. Darius tossed Cassandra a plasma rifle. You planned for this too, right? Cassandra caught it one-handed, already typing with the other. Please. I planned for Riker's grandkids. The bunker's outer defenses powered up with a deep hum. Outside, Jace stood on his bridge, watching the moon's surface light up with defensive turrets. Mirakova gaped at the readings. Sir, those are Imperial defense codes. Jace's jaw clenched. She's using our own systems against us. Mira hesitated. Do we proceed? Jace didn't hesitate. Full assault. I want that bunker. The ship lurched violently. Report. Myra's voice shook. Our weapons just locked down? Someone's overridden command protocols. Over the comms, Cassandra's voice purred. Jace. Did you really think I let you shoot at my pretty face twice in one day? Jace slammed his fist on the console. Vali, this is madness. No, Admiral. Cassandra's tone turned deadly serious. This is justice. The channel cut. Darius looked at Cassandra. Now, what? She checked the chrono. Now we wait. 40 minutes to go. On every Imperial screen across the galaxy, a silent countdown began. The Imperial flagship Eternal Dawn hung dead in space, its mighty engines dark, its weapons silent. Grand Inquisitor Veyron stormed through the smoke-filled corridors, shoving panicked technicians aside. Give me engineering. Now, he bellowed. A trembling officer looked up from a sparking console. Sir, we've lost all control. The reactors are... Veyron grabbed the man's collar. I don't care if you have to crawl through the ducts and turn the dam systems back on manually. Across the fleet, the same scene played out on hundreds of ships. Admiral Riker's assault cruiser drifted powerless, its bridge lit only by emergency lights. Mirakova wiped sweat from her brow as she worked frantically at her station. It's like the entire network is fighting us, sir. Every time we try to reboot, Jace clenches fists. She didn't just hack us. She possessed our systems. On screen, the countdown ticked relentlessly. 38:17. 38:16. Meanwhile, in a hidden corner of the Imperial database, something stirred. Cassandra's fingers danced across holographic keys as she monitored the chaos. And, right on schedule, Darius peered over her shoulder. What did you just activate? The Emperor's little secret. Cassie smirked. Turns out His Majesty had a backdoor into every citizen's neural implant. Darius's face darkened. Mind control. Bingo. She spun in her chair. But here's the fun part. I just turned that backdoor into a fire exit. A light blinked on her console. Cassie's grin widened. Oh, hello, Jace. Trying to be clever again. On Riker's ship, Mira suddenly gasped. Sir, we've got partial control returning. Jace didn't share her enthusiasm. Too easy. Vale's playing with us. Cassie's voice echoed through the bridge speakers. Ah, you do know me so well. Jace's eyes narrowed. What do you want, Vale? What I've always wanted, Admiral. The truth. The countdown on all screens froze at 37:00 exactly. Tell me, does Project Phoenix ring any bells? Jace went very still. Mira looked between them. Sir, Cassie's voice turned icy. 7 years ago, Outer Rim Colony Tarsus 4. Care to explain why an entire planet had to die to keep your Emperor's secret? The bridge crew shifted uncomfortably. Jace's voice was barely above a whisper. You don't know what you're dealing with. Oh, but I do. Cassie's tone could have frozen stars. And in 37 minutes, so will the entire galaxy. The connection was cut. Darius let out a low whistle. You sure know how to make an exit. Cassie stood, stretching her arms. Time for phase 2. Let's give them a real show. She typed a command. Across the Empire, every view screen, every comm unit, every public display flickered to life, showing not Imperial propaganda, but classified files. Security footage of the Emperor himself giving the order to exterminate Tarsus 4. On 1,000 worlds, people stopped and stared and remembered. The countdown resumed. 36:59, 36:58. The streets of the imperial capital erupted in chaos as the footage played on every screen. Citizens who had bowed to the emperor's rule just hours earlier now tore down propaganda banners with their bare hands. A shopkeeper kicked over a surveillance drone, sparks flying as it crashed to the pavement. "This is bad," muttered a young lieutenant aboard the Eternal Dawn, watching the riots unfold through the bridge viewports. "Really, really bad." Grand Inquisitor Veyron backhanded him across the face. "Silence. I want every available trooper deployed to..." The ship lurched violently as something massive impacted the hull. Alarms wailed as the artificial gravity flickered. "What now?" Veyron screamed. A terrified ensign stammered. "Yes, sir. The Onyx Hammer, just open fire on us." Veyron's face went pale. "That's Admiral Kane's ship." On the Onyx Hammer's bridge, Admiral Kane stood with his arms crossed, watching the flagship's shields flare under his barrage. His first officer hesitated. "Sir, are we rebelling?" Kane didn't take his eyes off the view screen. "No, Commander. We're remembering who we swore to protect." Back on Riker's drifting cruiser, Mira worked frantically at her console. "Sir, I've got partial systems back. If we can..." Jace wasn't listening. He stared at the frozen image of the Emperor's face on the main screen. The order to genocide Tarsus 4 still displayed for all to see. His hands trembled. "You knew," Mira whispered, horrified. Jace's voice cracked. "I followed orders." Mira recoiled like she'd been struck. Those were children on Tarsus 4. A new alert blared, the proximity sensors detecting multiple ships dropping out of warp. Not Imperial. Cassandra's voice crackled through the comms. "Hope you don't mind company, Jace. I invited some friends." Dozens of rebel vessels appeared, their weapons charging. Leading them was a battered but formidable battleship, the Phoenix Rising. Darius grinned as he manned the gunnery station in the bunker. "Took them long enough." Cassandra adjusted her headset. "All units, this is Vale. The countdown's at 30 minutes. Keep the Imperial fleet busy while the data spreads." A gruff voice responded over the comm. "About damn time someone burned this empire down." On the surface of Nereus Moon, hidden turrets powered down as Cassie and Darius sprinted toward a waiting stealth ship. "You sure about this?" Darius grunted as they climbed aboard. Cassie fired up the engines. "Which part? The part where we storm the Imperial Palace? Or the part where I get to look Veyron in the eye when it all comes crashing down?" The ship lifted off just as Riker's cruiser regained power and opened fire on their abandoned bunker. Mira watched the explosion through the view screen, her voice hollow. She wanted us to see that. She's leading us somewhere. Jace finally looked up from the damning footage, his eyes haunted. "Set course for the capital. Maximum speed." Mira hesitated. "Sir, whose side are we on now?" Jace didn't answer. The countdown continued. 29:47, 29:46. And across 1,000 worlds, people began to rise. The Imperial Palace burned, not from rebel weapons or orbital strikes, but from within. Flames licked at gilded towers as citizens and defecting soldiers tore through the gates. The air smelled of smoke and liberation. Cassandra's stealth ship sliced through the chaos, dodging falling debris as Darius monitored their approach. "We've got company at 3 o'clock. Riker's cruiser just entered atmosphere." Cassie didn't flinch. Right on schedule. She banked hard. the ship groaning in protest. "He'll follow us straight to the throne room. Just like I need him to." Darius shot her a look. "You're using him as bait?" "No," Cassie corrected with a wolfish grin. "I'm using him as a witness." The ship touched down in a shower of sparks. They burst out into pandemonium. Imperial guards fighting their comrades. Priceless artifacts smashed on marble floors. A familiar voice boomed over the din. "Vali." Grand Inquisitor Veron stood at the top of the grand staircase, his ceremonial robes torn, his face smeared with soot. A dozen loyalist guards leveled weapons at them. Cassie sauntered forward, completely at ease. "Marcus, you look like hell." Veron's hand trembled on his pistol. "You'll burn for this treason." "Funny," Cassie said, tapping her chin. "I don't recall swearing any oaths to a genocidal maniac." She took another step. "But you did, didn't you? You knew about Tarsus 4. A shadow crossed Veron's face. Necessary sacrifices. Cassie moved like lightning. One moment, she stood 10 feet away. The next, she had Veron by the throat, his back against the wall. The guards froze. "Say that again," she whispered, her voice dripping venom. "Say it to the faces of the children you burn alive." A plasma rifle cocked behind them. "Enough." Cassie didn't turn. "Took you long enough, Jace." Admiral Riker stood in the shattered doorway, Mira at his side, both breathing hard. His weapon stayed leveled at Cassie's head. "Let him go." Cassie laughed. "Or what? You'll shoot me?" Again, Myra's eyes darted between them. "The countdown's at 15 minutes. Whatever you're planning." "Oh, it's already done." Cassie released Veron, shoving him toward Riker. "The Emperor's dead. Has been for hours." Silence. Veron gasped. "Lies." Cassie pulled a small hollow projector from her belt. The image showed the Emperor's lifeless body slumped on his private shuttle. Self-inflicted plasma wound. Guess he didn't want to face his people. Darius whistled. "Damn, you didn't even give him the satisfaction of killing him yourself." Cassie's smile didn't reach her eyes. "I wanted him to know he'd already lost." Riker's weapon arm dropped slightly. Then, "What's the countdown for?" The ground trembled beneath their feet. A deep, resonant hum built in the walls. Cassie spread her arms. The grand finale. Alarms blared as the palace's central spire began to glow. Veron's eyes widened in realization. "The orbital defense array. You're turning the Emperor's favorite weapon against his own throne." Cassie nodded. "Poetic, isn't it?" The countdown hit 10 o'clock, and the sky above the capital began to burn. The palace shook like a dying beast as the orbital defense array powered up, its massive energy cannons humming with lethal charge. The glow from the spires painted everyone's faces in eerie blue light. Veron stumbled back, his arrogance finally cracking. "You'll destroy the entire capital." Cassandra didn't even blink. "No, just your precious throne room." She turned to Riker, whose weapon now hung limp at his side. 47 minutes ago, you watched them execute me. Now watch what happens when I execute justice." The countdown hit 5 o'clock. Mira grabbed Riker's arm. "Sir, we need to evacuate." But Riker was staring at Cassandra with dawning understanding. This was never about revenge. "You're erasing the evidence." Cassie's smile was razor sharp. "Took you long enough, Admiral." Darius tossed a small device to the ground. It projected a massive hologram above the crumbling palace. The image showed schematics of something called Project Phoenix, a planetary-scale neural inhibitor designed to suppress free will across the Empire. Veron lunged for it. "Destroy that." Cassie kicked his legs out from under him. "Oh no, Marcus. The whole galaxy gets to see their Emperor's masterpiece." The countdown hit 3 o'clock. Riker's voice was hoarse. "The Tarsus 4 massacre, they were testing it." Bingo. Cassie's eyes burned with fury. An entire colony turned into puppets. And when the test failed, Mira finished the thought, horrified. They burned the evidence, and everyone in it. The ground trembled violently as the first orbital cannon locked on a target. Darius checked his chrono. We've got 90 seconds to clear the blast radius. Cassie turned to leave, then paused. She tossed Riker a data chip. For what it's worth, I'm sorry it had to be you. Riker caught it, his fingers tightening around the small device. What's on this? The truth. All of it. Cassie met his gaze one last time. What you do with it? That's up to you now. Then she and Darius were sprinting through the crumbling halls as the countdown hit 0:59. Behind them, Veyron screamed, "You'll die with us, Vale." Cassie's laughter echoed back. "Not today, Marcus." The explosion, when it came, was blinding. A pillar of blue energy lanced down from the sky, vaporizing the throne room and everything in it. Every secret, every lie, every shred of the Emperor's legacy turned to ash in an instant. Outside the blast zone, Cassie and Darius watched from their ship as the central spire collapsed in slow motion. Darius let out a low whistle. Damn, that's one way to make an exit. Cassie leaned back in the pilot's seat, suddenly looking exhausted. It's done. Across the galaxy, the blackout ended. Every screen flickered back to life, showing not Imperial propaganda, but the unedited truth. Project Phoenix, Tarsus 4, the Emperor's death, and finally, a simple message. The chains are broken. The choice is yours now. On a dozen worlds, Imperial governors surrendered. On 100 more, people embraced in the streets. And aboard what remained of the Imperial fleet, Admiral Jace Riker stood before his crew, holding the data chip Cassie had given him. Mira looked at him expectantly. "Orders, sir." Riker took a deep breath, then crushed the chip underfoot. "Set course for the outer rim. We've got some apologies to deliver." And somewhere in the stars, a woman in a sleek black suit powered up her ship's engines, ready to disappear, just as the first rays of a new dawn broke across the liberated galaxy. And that was the end of the story. Comment below if you want the next chapter, and hit that like button. Please subscribe, turn on the bell, and, as always, keep the last light burning.